Hi, I'm Madison and welcome back to my channel. Today I have some Kindle Unlimited romance recommendations for you. So as we all know, I'm a huge fan of KU romances, despite the fact that I have crap tons of books on my shelves. I do read mostly ebooks every month. Does it make sense? No, it does not. Alas, here we are. I wanted to give you guys 5 recent KU romances that I have read that I want to recommend you, because if you have KU, these are great books that I say you download for free. Technically, I always think of KU books as like, oh, it's a free book. But it's not free. You pay for the subscription. That's like saying that a movie on Netflix is free. Yeah, technically, but you still pay for the subscription. I just feel like I forget all the time. But anyway, regardless, here are books that are on KU, which also means you can just regularly, buy them on Kindle if you want to, but to each their own, tomato, tomato. First we have Flawless by ᴛɪᴛᴏᴅ, which super hyped at the moment. Everyone and their mum is talking about this book. However, I want to mention it here in case you haven't read it, or you're thinking like, oh, it's super hyped, I don't want to read that. Like, why would I read such a super hyped book? I'm here to be like, bruh, it's not overhyped. It is so worth the hype. It is not even funny. Flawless by ᴛɪᴛᴏᴅ is a small town cowboy Canadian bull rider romance, which I know is a lot of different buzzwords in one. You're following Rhett and Summer. Now, Rhett is he's like in his late 30s, I think, and he is a professional bull rider. He is like this really hot older guy that like all the ladies are like goo goo gaga over. He's a total celebrity in the world, gets sponsorships, making all that bank. And then you've got Summer Hamilton. Her dad owns like Hamilton PR, and her dad is basically the, PR person for Rhett. Now, Rhett recently did a huge boo-boo. Not only did he punch someone, but he also said on live TV that he hates milk. And he had like a whole like Got Milk sponsorship, so that went down the drain and he went viral for hating milk, especially because he like comes from like a small farming town and they were like, how can you hate milk? And he was like, oh my god, what why am I getting all this hatred? So Summer is basically sent to be his babysitter for 6 weeks to make sure he does not get into any other PR nightmares before his next round of bull riding competitions until the championship. This is absolutely hilarious. It is total grumpy sunshine. He is such a grump towards her. He is so bitter. He's like, I don't want you here. I don't need you here. This is insulting. You're just like a city girl trying to like chill out here in like the countryside. And she's there and she's like, I used to have photos of this man on my wall when I was a teenager. There's like a 8-year age gap between the two of them. She's like in her late 20s and he's, like I said, like in his late 30s. And it's like, she's like, I'm just trying to be a nice person here. I don't even want to be here. And he's being a dick to me. And their relationship is absolutely hilarious. It is actually like a strangers to friends to lovers romance, which is what I really love about it, is you kind of watch the central tension really build between the two of them as like it all kind of like coalesces into like this massive moment of them like fake kissing, and you're like, oh, I got a fake kiss, but it's actually a real kiss because you know it's gonna be a real kiss. And it was so good. So funny. It has so many rom-com vibes to it. I was laughing out loud like multiple times while reading this. It was just like the perfect quintessential like small town romance with enough like fresh spin on it. But I do want to quickly say that there is a trigger warning in this for grooming. Summer was groomed by an older man when she was like in her late teens, and then entered into a romantic relationship with said man when she was of age. So that is a trigger warning in this, just as a FYI. Then we have Chances by ლიᴏᴏ. This is a mafia romance, but it has a little bit of a spin to it, which makes it really fresh and unique, so I really want to mention it. So this entire series, well, once it becomes a series, is actually going to be based on different DC villains. So this very first one, Chances, is based off of Two-Face. So you're following Lucian, who is a mafia lawyer. Well, he's being blackmailed to be the lawyer for the mafia. And then you have Sabrina, and she is the only daughter of a mafia family, and she has been forcibly betrothed to Lucian's boss. And so Lucian is sent basically to collect her for said wedding, in the lead up to it, so that she doesn't like run away. And so she's kind of technically a captive to this like boss, but not really, because she is allowed to go out and do stuff. And it's their romance, forbidden between the two of them, because he is obviously tasked with, being the lawyer who like looks after her and like does all the bidding for his boss, and she's, his boss's betrothed, but she doesn't want to be betrothed to him. And they have like this serious like sexual connection like off the bat, where they're both like super attracted to one another, and then they kind of become friends obviously, and then that turns into them like having this like secret romance, and it was really fun. I adored this like very fresh take on a mafia romance, because you're seeing it from a non like mafia specific hero, with him being a lawyer instead, which was really fun. But not only that, they also had like all these really cute like late night phone calls between the two of them, and he even gets like a whole like pottery studio done for her, and it was just like so sweet and so cute. And the ending was really unique too. I don't want to spoil it, but it wasn't the ending that I had initially expected from this, which is why it also stood out to me. So that's also on KU. Then we have Returned to Us by Corinne Michaels. This is a small town single parent second chance romance. So a little bit on the sweeter side here. Well, sweeter side, but also definitely emotional side. So this is Grayson and Jessica's romance. Grayson and Jessica were high school sweethearts, but Grayson's family did not think that Jessica was good enough for him, and so they ended up breaking up during their final year of high school and went their separate ways. Present day, Grayson is a single dad and Jessica is a flight attendant, and she just got into a plane crash and has had a lot of trauma and damage from that, and so she's had to come back home to her small town in order to do like PT and do recovery. And the two of them obviously cross paths for like the first time in like years since she first left town, and they're both single and they both kind of spark up that romance again. And so I really love this as a second chance romance, especially because I'm quite picky about second chance romances. I find that they're either very hit or they're very miss, because it can sometimes be difficult to be like, oh, I still feel this connection, still feel like I want to root for this couple even though they've broken up before. Like it's such like it's a very fine line that a lot of authors do kind of walk when it comes to second chance romances, but this one here was so it. Like right off the bat, I wanted them to be together. You could not deny that they were still so perfect for one another and that they were still so meant to be. And like he built a house at their lookout spot, and it's been there for all these years. Like bruh. Oh my god. And she bought a car that reminds her of him. Yo, like I cannot even, the amount of things that they held on to throughout those years for them like to come back together. Utter cuteness. It was such utter cuteness. Oh, I loved it to death. It was so amazing, so perfect. Definitely recommend. Then we have Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher, which I know is a pretty popular book, but I think a lot of people probably feel like they have to read book 1 before they can read book 2, and that is actually not the case for this series in my opinion. I feel like these can actually all be read as full standalones, which is really unique. You have got Iris and Declan. Now Declan is one of the Kane brothers, and these 3 brothers are the heirs basically to a Disney conglomerate called Dreamland, and in their grandfather's will, each of the 3 brothers have a stipulation that they have to fulfill before they are allowed to inherit their portion of Dreamland. So Declan is trying to fulfill his, and his stipulation, the clause, was that he has to get married and have a baby within a certain amount of time. And the thing is that he's basically like an acting CEO in a sense, and he thinks that his entire life is work. His entire life is to prove that he is better than his dad and to prove that he can run Dreamland better than his dad can be, and he has just put his entire blood, sweat and tears into work, and his work-life balance does not exist. Iris is his lovely assistant, his personal assistant, who literally does so much for him and literally gives up all of her free time and her personal life to be his assistant. And so when Declan is trying to find a wife, it is actually Iris who tries to find candidates for him, and when the book starts off, the most recent candidate ends up running off because Declan is rude to her and she quits. And so it's on the night of the supposed engagement party, and they panic. They're like, oh my god, you're supposed to go out there, you're supposed to say that you're engaged to someone, and there's no one. Like, we've kept it a huge surprise that you're supposed to get engaged, and now what are you gonna do? Like, you're running out of time. And he goes, it's fine, we'll figure it out. And she goes, I'll do it. I'll be your wife. It's fine. Like, we already work all the time together. We're already so close. We're friends. We can do that. And he goes, we're not friends. He goes, we're not friends. And she goes, no, Declan, we are friends. And he goes, no, I don't have friends. And she goes, I will unpack this with you later. We are going to go out there right now and tell everyone that we are getting married. And so the two of them enter into a marriage of convenience so that he is able to fulfill this clause. And it is just a roller coaster. It's them kind of really navigating the fact of maybe Declan has always been in love with her and just has not realized it, and Iris being like, oh, maybe, like, damn, he actually is hot and I don't think I realized this before. And Iris also kind of looking after herself because she has been his PA for all these years, but she has her own ambitions and wanting to pursue those ambitions and kind of growing as a person. And Declan's him learning that there is more to life than work, because his entire life does revolve around work and his dad. The only issue I had with this book that I will stipulate early on is a trope that I see a lot in historical romances, which is just the fact that the guy is very focused on not becoming his dad and on not doing the things that his dad did and on like defeating his dad. That that's what the main conflict ends up being with the heroine, is because of his obsession. Like his obsession with his dad is what breaks down his communication with like the wife, which is a very common historical romance plot that you don't see all the time in like regular contemporary romances, but that is in this book, which I don't like personally, but the rest of this book was so amazing that I don't really care. So, and then last but not least, we have Drive Me Wild by Melanie Harlow. This is perfect for people who love It Happened One Summer. Honestly, I'm obsessed with this book. Like, Melanie Harlow did the God's work. This follows Blair and Griffin. Griffin owns a auto mechanic shop in Bellamy Creek, and Blair, well, her dad committed like insurance fraud or some shit like that. She was an heiress from a family, and obviously they lost all their money. And so what she has decided to do is basically run off and start a new life. Because her parents want her to get married to like some rich dude to like help them get more money. And she's like, I don't want that for my life. She's like, I want to go start a bakery. And so I'm going to run away in my car that I bought for like random amounts of cash, chuck all the belongings that I still currently have, which includes my massive wedding-like debutante dress that I'm going to wear in the car, and travel to Cloverleaf Farms. However, while she's going through Bellamy Creek, she gets in a car crash and crashes outside the diner. And she ends up tumbling outside of her car. This is the very first scene. Tumbles outside of her car, her crashed car, in front of this diner in her debutante ball gown. And Griffin is inside said diner, looks out, sees us, and goes, what the fuck? And he has this like whole like James Dean like look about him. So he goes out there, basically helps bring her car back to his shop, offers to fix it for her. She, however, has no money, cannot afford to fix it, and also has nowhere to stay. So she ends up actually crashing with him and staying at his place, and ends up working as his receptionist at the auto mechanic shop to help pay back for her car and to like, so she can, you know, eventually leave. And it is their romance. It is so amazing because she just has no street smarts whatsoever and does not know so many different things, and she's just absolutely hilarious, and but such like a pure soul at the same time, because she does mean so well, but you know, she just doesn't know many things. But she's also an amazing cook, an amazing baker, because obviously she wants to own a bakery, and so she starts making like baked goods for everyone in town and like wins them all over. And Griffin is like super grumpy at the start, but like obviously falls for her. And it was also surprisingly spicy. Like they do a whole like role-playing scene, and I did not see that coming, and I was like, okay, yummy, delicious, living for this. So it definitely has like those really great like rich girl in like a small town with like one of the like kind of grumpy bad boys. It is just so good. Trust me, you will love it. Pick this one up. And that's going to be it for my 5 spicy KU romance recommendations. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a button below. If you want to see more of me, please go to my channel, and don't forget to check me out over on TikTok and Instagram. And until next time, thanks so much everyone. Bye bye.